It's time for Girl Talk, her say, and tonight we speak to the girl who dared to dream. Penning her very own autobiography, Dr. Betty Muthoni Gikonyo is a medical entrepreneur, a pediatric cardiologist, and one of the country's best-known healthcare professionals. Of course, alongside with her college sweetheart, turned hubby, Dr. Dan Gikonyo, she founded the Karen Hospital. That is sometime in 2006, one of Africa's influential healthcare facility. And I am looking forward to this story, as I had said earlier on. And I think the moment is now. Cometh the hour, as they would say. So it will be just 1 hour of us getting to hear this beautiful story of hope. Of course, that comes along with a bit of challenges. And of course, these challenges are the ones that we want to hear this evening. Karibu once again, Dr. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much, Linda. I'm happy to be here.
It's a great pleasure.
Yes.
Sadly, there's a bit of sad news coming from Tanzania. They have lost Lowassa, who was once a prime minister there. Perhaps a second or so for you to send your condolences. And this comes along with a question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Linda. Indeed, loss of a past president and loss of any a member of society is something that we all, would like to condole with the family, condole with the country. They are good neighbors, and may I take this opportunity on my own behalf, on behalf of the Karen Hospital and my family, and indeed all those associated with us, to pass our deep condolences, to the family, and to ask for peace at this time in their hearts as they come to terms, with what has happened.
Indeed, why I give you this opportunity, of course, is because it's a noble thing to do, but also takes me back to, a space where you as a family, one of the most important persons in your life was handling the life of one of the most important persons in the country. That is, may his soul rest in eternal peace. That is former President Mwai Kibaki. Yes. What was it like for you as a mother of this home, knowing that now there is Daktari who's handling the life of a president?
Thank you very much. Indeed, yes, it comes with the territory that it happens at a time when we were just in the throes of starting the Karen Hospital, in 2000 prior to 2006 is when Dan started, his journey, of taking care of the president. So what it really meant is that I had to take more responsibility because it together, apart from the normal duties, of the medical care, there was a lot of travel, and a lot of being away from home, and away from the hospital, and away from our children are grown up, so but nevertheless they are always our children. Right. So it's a great thing, and a great honor, for the family and specifically for Dan to have been given that opportunity to take care, of the head of state. One doesn't take it for granted, and we are grateful that he had that opportunity. And we also, thank God that the time he looked after him, things went on well. But on the other side, we had now to do without him, and just know that he was busy doing the right thing and the thing that needed to be done at that time.
Beautiful. And I'm glad that, to hear you call him Dan, with the kind of respect that we accord him, we'd probably expect Dr. So-and-so and all that, but basically we understand that home setup. How's everybody at home? The children, like you say, they're all grown up. The grannies, there's a time I was going through, so that was a while back, your page, and I just realized how much you value family and just how much you were talking, great about family and the young ones.
Well, right now I have 3, boys at home, for the weekend.
Grandchildren or?
Grandchildren, coming to spend the time. Somebody told us that sometimes the grandchildren should have come before the children because, you love them and, you cherish them. Not that you don't love your children, but they come with a lot of joy. And, so yes, we are a family of Dan and I, we have 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter. And currently our daughter is the chief executive, actually, of the current hospital. I am the chairman, so I don't want to take her space. And I don't want to, otherwise I'll not have a good time when I get back home. Then I'm usurped, there's the CEO. Our son is the medical director, he's a medical doctor. And Eric, our youngest, is the one who is not in the medical area, but he writes, he's a poet. And they all have children, so we have 8 grandchildren. Wow. Yeah, so we are blessed.
Oh, that's beautiful. They must be watching and watching show we're doing.
Oh, yes, yes, they are watching.
You pass our greetings when you go back home.
I'll do that.
All right, so just who is Dr. Betty? And we would want to assume that many people know you in the country, but there's that one person perhaps who's watching tonight. You might not know just who this is.
Well, I like to start with that I am an ordinary village girl.
Okay. Who dared to dream.
Who dared to dream.
Yes.
Yes, and, penned my autobiography, of the journey, from the village, to the world of medicine. I like to think of myself as a privileged Kenyan, who was born at a time when education was fairly free, and therefore the issue of having money was not the most prevailing, circumstance, as to make you progress. So I like to think myself as a privileged girl, privileged woman, that God, because and I will keep on repeating that God allowed me, to be the youngest in my mother, in my mother's home, and yet, I went to school just for that girl who is out there. It's good to always start from where the story is. We are the children who are born during the Mau Mau, fights, and therefore we were incarcerated in villages, and we grew up with a difficult life, initially, as in our first 10 years of life. Before then, by the time I was 13, independence was declared, and that time was just the time after being in a village school, after going through all the normal chores that young girls go to the river, carrying water, carrying firewood. It's good to tell that part of the story, just to say I did not start at the current hospital. And with that, I was fortunate to attend the Alliance Girls High School, where I did my A-levels, and after that, I entered the University of Nairobi, where I did my medicine, and that's where I met Dan. And my life, my dream was to be a doctor from the time I was 7 years old. And why? Because I had a brother who was a doctor and who influenced, my choice of a career. So when we say who am I, that's my background in education, apart from then back to the University of Nairobi after working in Nakuru, provincial hospital. So I did my stint working in the government for 2 years in Nakuru, and then came back to the University of Nairobi to do my master's in pediatrics. I became a pediatrician, and after being a pediatrician, worked a bit for the government before proceeding with my husband, and our 3 children then to the University of Minnesota, to Minneapolis, Minnesota, the land of 1,000 lakes, very cold, and there is where we specialized in cardiology. And we had a good time there, good in quotes, because there you are on your own, But however, we survived the cold, we survived the deprivation of being away from home, and we came back home. We were determined to come back home. And it is coming back home that we started the current hospital after 20 years of struggle. Maybe we shall come to that.
Yes, we shall come to that. And so this means that you've been with Dan all through, hand in hand, basically almost the same experiences. Did he not feel threatened by this lady who perhaps was committed and, focused and as well, just being as equal as a man would be?
Maybe Linda, one of these days you'll invite him and ask him.
He should tell us that, right?
Because he should tell us that.
But at least you must have felt like...
But let me I can answer the question quite without blinking. That we have worked together, and supported each other. And having been in the same class of medical school, obviously, if he was threatened, he would never have dated me.
Yes.
So probably he was that was a brave kind of a guy, who would approach, a medical, a girl who is studying medicine. So there's never been a competition in the area of work. One, I am a pediatrician, and he's an adult. He takes care of children, of adults. But we have been more supportive, and we really needed to support each other, to get where, God has allowed us to be. So I say he has been more supportive, and I've also supported him. And together, we have worked together. There's no perfect situation, but let me say, when all is said and done, that's where we are.
A lot of activity, one would want to imagine. The health sector is not pretty much an easy one. And one would just want to understand, how have you managed to navigate all these years? Is there a time you've rested at all?
And let me admit that there has no time. The moment you started medical school, from the time you enter medical school, you are taken to internship. Internship is tough. Then you're back to postgraduate. Raising a family at the same time. And then traveling overseas where there's no help, like here, where at least you have relatives who can help you.
Yeah.
You also have house help. There you are on your own again. Yeah. So rest, I think it is something, is a part of vocabulary that is not very common, in the story that I would tell. However, having said that, I think everybody is we are genetically, maybe the moment God brought us into this world, He knew what was ahead of us.
Yeah.
And I say I feel most comfortable when I'm working. And I tend to be not very popular when it comes to wanting other people to keep working. And this life work balance is something that I don't know how it works.
Okay. Well, interesting. But then again, you have managed so well. The reason why I said it's a woman of first, because there are a couple of, things that you have done, when you're talking about pediatric cardiologist, perhaps the first one in the country?
The first woman? First woman pediatric cardiologist, yes, way back, in 1985. After, studying at the University of Minnesota, I came back, to find, yes, a couple of adult cardiologists who are men, but I was the first pediatric cardiologist. But thereafter, I've really taken time. I really took time and continued to do so, to train others and to help others attain. So we are quite now, I would say maybe a dozen or so, women, pediatric cardiologists.
Which is a beautiful thing.
I'm happy to hear.
Why I also called you Madam CEO is because you have been one before.
Indeed, I was.
Award-winning Madam CEO.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, I was CEO of Karen Hospital for some 16 years. Yeah, and prior to that, Nairobi Heart Clinic. And yes, I steered the hospital from a greenfield, project, where there was nothing, to a hospital that now is a level 6 hospital. And I was awarded, the best CEO in the medical, sector, in East Africa. And I don't take it for granted. I thank God that somebody somewhere was watching, and they recognized that.
Are you sometimes tempted to micromanage the activities as a CEO because you've been there and now your daughter is sitting on this seat? Sometimes you are tempted to come in, or you perhaps think that she's capable and she's managing it well?
Let's say she's capable, she's managing it well, but you're right. Once a CEO, you sometimes, find yourself venturing into areas where you are told, but you're not in management,
yes.
you know, and you have to remember, yes, I mean, the corporate governance,
yeah.
that's where I should be sitting, but I do have some ideas here and there. Can I be allowed to, you know, to express them, and I'm allowed, yes.
Walk us through this journey of the Karen Hospital a bit,
Yes.
some more, and I know you've
Yes,
mentioned how you came back to the country and, you know, like, I don't know, 26 years later,
Yes, yeah.
you decided to set up this incredible facility that is helping so many
Yes.
souls. But some more about it, the coming up of the same, you
Yes.
know, the fact that today is fully functional and doing so well, you know, perhaps challenging many other facilities that we have in the country.
Yes, the story of Karen Hospital is one that I would like to tell, and so much, you know, in such a way as to encourage those who may have dreams, you know, of setting up maybe a hospital, maybe somebody else, something else, a hotel, maybe whatever it is, that the dream that you have in your heart, and what it is that you really would like to, you know, to see, you know, happen by the time you are my age. You know, it's something that requires hard work, you know, persistent, you know, conviction, you know, that you are doing what you want to do, passion, a lot of sacrifice, you know, and then the journey of Karen Hospital is really such. We were back in Minnesota in 1982 to 86, and we were sitting in one winter with a friend, you know, at the late Dr. Magaria and Mr. John Wamuge, and who are all Kenyans. And, you know, winters are times when you're just indoors, and we are thinking, what shall we do when we get back home?
Yeah.
And we said, put up a hospital. Why put up a hospital? Because we had seen very high class, high level, you know, care, in the United States, and we saw the hospitals, the kind of hospitals they had, and we said, government hospitals are here in Kenya. There are some private hospitals, but we would like to put one that would specifically take care of heart patients. That's what we started off. That was our dream.
Right.
You know, and little did we know that by the time we got back here, that it was a Herculean task. It took us 20 years, you know, from 1986 to 2006. You know, why did it take so long? We were still working, and we continued to work, you know, all along, but we were looking for funding. We were looking for, you know, people who were like-minded, who would say, let's put this together. But everywhere you turned, it was like, doctors, that's not your job to put up hospitals. Yours is to treat. The other people whose responsibility is to do that.
Okay.
But we were convicted that that's what we wanted to do. Suffice it to say that those 20 years required walking door to door. Banks.
Yeah.
You know, imagine two doctors, you know, without his background in finance.
Yeah.
So at one point we were directed, go get a business plan, and we got, you know, my brother-in-law to write a business plan. Thank you to Dr. Kibuka, you are listening, you know, for putting up the business plan, so that now we had something tangible that we were going to take to the bank. But even then, ridicule is what we got.
Oh.
Who do you think you are? You know, you're just two simple doctors. You know, how will you run this in case it doesn't work? You know, what shall we auction? The patients, you know, or the building? You know, there's nothing we didn't hear. But the long and short of it, which is the message I want to put across, is that perseverance, you know, passion, you know, don't allow people to discourage you or to tell you it cannot be done.
Yeah.
There's always a first. You know, and you can be that fast. And suffice it to say that by the year 2000, you know, we had, you know, some positive response from East African Development Bank, and thereafter by African APDF, and saying we might. But however, finally it was Kenya Commercial Bank that came through, you know, to finance the Karen Hospital, you know, and the land, getting the land was another story. And why people ask why all the way in Karen, is because that land was never meant to be a hospital land. It was meant to be residential. You know, all of us, you know, when we were growing up, we were already doctors. One day we thought we would be live in Karen.
In Karen, and you know, someone would want to imagine that it's a high-end hospital, it's expensive and all this talk.
Yeah, but it's not a high, it is a high-end hospital. Yes, it is in a Karen suburb, but that does not mean it's inaccessible.
Right.
The Karen hospital is accessible, you know, to all cadres of, you know, I would say because of NHIF, which was a game changer.
Yeah.
It allowed even people, you know, with with just NHIF covered, you know, to come to Karen Hospital.
Yeah.
People who are working with corporates who are covered. So some people are, you know, in the lower echelon, you know, of employment, they will access the Karen Hospital. And the ordinary mwananchi who is paying out of pocket is able to come to Karen Hospital. One thing I always emphasize is, if it was inaccessible completely, it wouldn't be standing, because there has to be enough people who have come to, you know, patronize the hospital, you know, and enough, you know, expertise there, you know, patient-centeredness, access, you know, I would say affordability.
Yeah.
And our prices are transparent if somebody wants to know. But there's this feeling that because it's in the suburbs of Karen, therefore it is inaccessible. However, we thank the very many Kenyans from all walks of life, all from both local, you know, Nairobi, you know, all the counties. I would say we have patients from Eldoret, from Nyeri, from Wajir, but we also have patients from outside the country, you know, who come, you know, and access the services there. And that's how the hospital is there. Having said that, Linda, allow me to say that one of the greatest things that, apart from providing, you know, high-end, you know, medical care, especially in the treatment of heart diseases, in the treatment of, you know, the digestive system, you know, cancer and others, we also are training. We train, you know, doctors, you know, especially doctors who have finished their medical, their undergraduate. We are an intern accredited hospital. We are also training cardiologists. We are training surgeons. We are training physicians in the hospital. But apart from the hospital, you know, apart from that, we are also employing over 400 Kenyans. So that is a very big, you know, and apart from that, the main hospital has got 8 branches. Right. So we are taking our expertise to the county. So we are in Meru, we are in Nakuru, we're in Naivasha, we're in Nyeri, we're in Karatina, we're in Thika, we're in Rongai, we are here in town center, ensuring that the same quality of health services at affordable, cheaper than it would be in the main hospital is availed across.
What is the fulfilling factor of this? Because one would say, well, there's the element of making money, but you can imagine just how many lives then gets to, and my assumption would be that would be the fulfilling factor for you and Daktari.
Yeah, yes, I think the greatest fulfillment is, one is to see, you know, you see a child, you know, come in, you know, with a heart problem or with a, even unknown to others, that we also treat children with cancer, children with kidney diseases. To see a child or an adult, you know, or somebody, you know, who comes in, you know, with somebody almost people have given up on them, and to see that patient walking out, you know, and seeing the celebration and ululation, you know, that follow. So that is great, you know, as a doctor. You know, that's what you are trained to do. Yeah. You are trained to see, you know. However, having said that, I think I cannot underrate one of our greatest passion, which is training. Yeah. And I've just mentioned it. Allow me to say, Linda, that apart from training the doctors, we have a medical training college, you know, which is for training nurses, which is now 10 years old. Yeah. And it has had 5 graduations, and we have sent nurses, you know, to other counties because we cannot absorb all of them. Yeah. Some have gone outside the country. We're also training, you know, high specialized areas where we want people beyond doctors, the lower level, who can make diagnosis of heart problems. They are called echocardiographers, people who run the heart-lung machine. We are training, we are the only center, you know, in the private sector, you know, who is training. Right. So this training college has been, you know, there for 10 years, and we are very happy that for 3 consecutive years, the Nursing Council has given us the best We have produced the best nurses.
Wow.
Why? Because we really do take a lot of effort. Because unless you can train the next generation, then who will treat the people, who will come later? So finally, the other great satisfaction, and I repeat it, is the employment, of other professionals, both medical and non-medical. Because to run a hospital, you have accountants, you have human resource managers, you have people in operations, so you are not selective, you are not just running a hospital with medics, and nurses, but you're also running it with all the other, IT. Finally is the Heart to Heart Foundation, which is our philanthropic arm.
Hold it there. That's a very, very important factor, because then it almost became like an entire country's affair when we're talking about the heart-to-heart run. I wish for us to give it a minute or so, so that we can as well speak to the same. But not before we take this quick short break. Dr. Betty Gikonyo is the guest tonight. You have heard what she does. We continue listening to her story, and as well we open the lines for you to speak to us. Call us live in the event that you have any questions for Dr. or you can as well send in your messages and we'll be looking at them, but after this short break.
Wanasema wasemao kuwa elimu ni bahari haishi kwa kuchotwa. Wakati mwingi natangamana na wanafunzi madarasani, sio kama mwalimu bali kama nahodha kwenye kipindi cha tasnia ya elimu. Na iwapo utanikosa madarasani, basi utanipata nyanjani nikisaka habari zenye usawa, ufasaha na ukweli. Na iwapo utanikosa nyanjani, bila shaka utanipata studioni, hapa nikisoma habari na kuendesha mijadala mikomavu. Mimi ni Andrin Kilemi, mpenzi wa lugha ya Kiswahili na elimu kwa jumla.
They say money makes the world go round. So let's slow things down a bit. Put things in perspective. From the markets to the streets to the stocks, we make the complex comprehensible. Join me, Hibak Said, on TV47 Business News for market insights like never before.
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for. That is our job. This
And Dr. Betty Gikonyo is our guest on Her Say tonight, the co-founder of the Karen Hospital. The lines are open for you to speak to us. The hashtag, as always, is, of course, Her Say, Linda_Lela. I'll be looking at some of the comments that you send us as we continue with the broadcast. And, of course, I can see that some are already coming in as well. The numbers are running down on your screen. You can always call us live, and 22047 is the SMS short code. And, Dr. we're coming to that aspect of the heart-to-heart run. Yes. Like I said, this is one initiative that pulled almost the entire country together. Yes. at that point you realize just how, you know, Kenyans are, you know, united in terms of making sure that they can work together the journey of those ones that are in pain. Just how was it for you? How much of an impact was it? Do you suppose as it continues, it has fulfilled what you would have envisioned for it?
Yeah, I am, Linda, I'm very happy about the Heart to Heart Foundation and the fact that it's actually, we are celebrating 30 years because the Heart to Heart Foundation actually precedes, you know, predates the current hospital, it predates the medical training college, and way back in 1993, you know, Dan and I, you know, thought about the, you know, about starting the foundation out of a need. We started off, we were trained to treat patients with heart problem. And specifically for me, I was feeling very frustrated when I came back into the country because yes, I was making the diagnosis. Child has a hole in the heart. Yes, they were both without one vessel, you know, or one valve, you know, in the heart. There are quite a lot of many names that, long names that we use, you know, for all those conditions.
They're common cases, they're pretty much?
The common ones are, yeah, they are very common.
Oh, yeah?
Because it's more of statistics that, you know, out of every 1,000 children born, you know, about 7 to 10 will have, you know, some form of heart problem. About 5 will have something serious. So when we consider our population and, you know, our birth rate, you know, the tragedy is that many of these children are never diagnosed. And those who get diagnosed, there was no treatment, you know, that could be availed for them. The adults, there was something that you could do. So when I started practicing pediatric cardiology, it was like, I started actually in Kenyatta National Hospital, you know, and, you know, there were these children that I was seeing, and I was feeling helpless because here I am, you know, I'm making the diagnosis, but I can't do the obvious, which is get the child treated so that they can go home. We are not trained to just make diagnosis. We're supposed to make diagnosis and treat. So initially I started by, you know, looking for help from the University of Minnesota, where I trained, and I traveled with quite a lot of children over there, you know, to have free heart surgery. Kenya Airways and other airlines were magnanimous, and those were the days of Harambee. I traveled to the UK. I traveled to Bergamo in Italy. There are many. I traveled to many countries with these children. And one of the things that I kept on being asked, you're a heart specialist. Why don't you treat these children in your own home? Okay. And it's like, we don't have the, you know, the facilities. Why don't you have facilities? You know, to other people out there, it just doesn't make sense. Yeah. So, so I nevertheless got tired of being an escort, you know, and being everything, you know, to the family. But during that time, during all that time, there was this thinking, what can we do? And this dawned on us. We could start, you know, bringing, you know, like-minded people, you know, to come, you know, together, and we start a foundation, raise money, then look for equipment. Then we were in Nairobi Hospital, put the equipment in Nairobi Hospital and start, you know, because the heart surgeons were there. What they did not have is equipment. And they didn't have the, you know, the team trained of nurses to, you know, to support. So that was really the genesis of the Heart to Heart Foundation. And in as much as it's known about the two of us, the Dr. Yadai, it's actually other people, you know, were involved. Dr. John Kariuki and his wife Joy, the late Mr. Nyaga, Jeremiah Nyaga was actually our first chairman, Mr. Gishaga, and other men and women of goodwill, you know, came together to form what has up to now, you know, been a foundation with a board, you know, with the structures, you know, that, you know, you can be assured that the money that is raised, you know, goes to where it's supposed to be. So the 600 children to date, you know, have had, you know, life-changing surgery. They have had a new lease of life, you know, and over 10, you know, we had over 10,000, you know, lay people we have trained in the prevention of heart disease, because some of the heart disease our children have are actually acquired from a sore throat that should be treated, a bacterial sore throat that can lead to a heart problem. Many people don't know that. And we have also trained a lot of health workers in hospitals before the counties came to be in the provinces. And the satisfaction is that out there are so many, who can now make the diagnosis, who can think about prevention and who can bring preventive. So it's gratifying, it is fulfilling, and it is something that every year when we have the heart run, we had it in June last year, we'll have it on the 15th of June this year, and every time we are calling upon the schools and the children and who come, they came in the thousands. We had over 25,000 children come, actually 30. And this year, what my appeal is, to the corporates especially, come along, come and support. Even if it's one child, you say, I will take over the surgery of this one child. Half, whatever amount of money, because what we really have is we have been able to mobilize the schools and the children, because 30,000 children is no mean task. But I thank the teachers and all teachers out there listening, your effort and your ability, to mobilize these children. We have a teachers workshop that we normally have in March that we are having to train the teachers how to detect heart diseases, how to, to be ambassadors, to the children. But right now, my greatest request and appeal would be to corporates and organizations that can come on board, to be part and parcel of this big movement of assisting our children who, because somebody cares, they have a bright tomorrow. Because somebody cares, they can go back to be children, playing, going to school, being productive adults. There is so much that one gets from just, when you see these children. For me, they are no longer children, because those I took care of in 1986, now they're grown-ups, they're mothers, they are fathers. I meet them in the street and it's like, you don't remember me? Of course, I don't remember them, but they remember me. So it is a collective responsibility for all of us to know that they are less fortunate, in society. They are children who come from very disadvantaged, environment, especially where there is poor hygiene. Unfortunately, that's where a child gets a, sore throat, but it never goes to the hospital, because the priority of the mother is to go look for food. The priority of the mother is to go and fetch, a livelihood for the rest of the children. And these children are neglected. But we thank God that this is not where we were 30 years ago. We have come a long way.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because we have seen just how much as well the government is committed towards making sure that they extend healthcare services to rural areas, as well as, now extending this to the African region and so much more. Koi is watching. Koi is a medic. I'm just getting into the field officially and fully, and I'm very delighted to see this great story. Could you please ask Daktari, as a pace setter, and who is uplifting other women, that's what she says, just what magnitude of pressure does she get to experience? How much pressure comes with that?
Well, I would always say this. There's no profession that doesn't have its own pressure. You, Linda, here.
100% every other time.
That lady in the village, trying to to take care of crops and the rains don't come. There's pressure. So there's pressure with everywhere, where you look. But the good thing is the good Lord has given us the ability, to be able to withstand pressure. I'm not, underplaying the fact that there is a lot, that, this is a 24-hour job, and there's no time that you can say my phone is off, so, and it's throughout your life. you know, even after I've retired, I still get the phone calls, and I cannot say I'm no longer practicing. I have to find a solution, get somebody who, you know, I can refer the patient to. So, but it comes, you know, it's part of your life, you know, and you learn how to manage it. And as long as you are happy about what you do, you're satisfied, and at the end of the day, the gratification that comes out of it is more than the pressure. But the pressure is there, I'm not denying, but it is manageable.
It is manageable.
Just like everybody else.
Yes, beautiful. And you know, you are perhaps just looking at the environment and you're thinking, well, I am managing to do what it is that, you know, I am supposed to do.
Yes.
And to see your patients getting healed,
Yes,
or, you know, managing their conditions is a beautiful thing. But you're seated somewhere, and then you realize that you've been nominated for an award, and you realize that you've been nominated for, you know, presidential commendation, and true to it, you end up getting these awards.
Yes.
Take us through that feeling. It must feel nice, you know.
Well, I think we all, like, even from the day we were in primary school, when you announced that you're number one, and you're just going to walk up to the podium,
you know,
and stand there.
That walk of fame.
Yeah, just walk of fame, and somebody claps for you.
Yeah.
We never get tired of it, and even as we grow, even as adults, you know, there is that jubilation that comes, and feeling of, you know, just happiness that somebody has noticed. And also the fact that is a presidential award is not something to take for granted. When President Moi gave me the Silver Star, you know, I was happy. When President Kibaki gave me Moran of the Burning Spear, I was happy. So I don't want to, you know, to just even when they said 1 out of 100, I don't know, known Kenyans. When it comes there and you see it, and you see your name, it's human. You feel good, you know, and it is, you know, it is something that to rejoice and to tell your friends about. So yeah, Linda, I do get happy. You know, I can't underplay the fact that I do get, you know, excited by. There's nobody ever gets tired of even gifts. Yeah.
That's true. That's really true. Natasha Atela is watching and says, you know, could Daktari just share a moment of her and Dan? Is it always medical talk?
Yes.
Or sometimes it's a bit of easy talk?
You know, when you have lived with somebody for 50 years,
50?
Yes, we are celebrating our 50th wedding anniversary. Then it is a mix of everything. You know, you'll talk medicine. You know, you'll talk. You'll talk. You know, what's the food on the table. You'll talk about the neighbor. You'll talk about what is happening in the country. But we also, you know, we do like traveling. You know, and we together. In our heydays, we loved dancing. You know.
What happened? I hope it did not change. All right. How I wish my director could put some music here. But anyway.
You have to bring Dan also.
Oh, we have to bring Dan along. All right, the next time I'm inviting him, I'll make sure that you're here so we can have a nice dance, you know, for old times' sake.
And you'll join, you know.
I will try and join in.
But remember that.
What's your favorite? What was your favorite music then?
Don't forget we are the age group of Jim Reeves and Elvis and Skeeter Davis. And, you know,
beautiful. I used to listen to a lot of Jim Reeves when my dad was listening along there, so I had no choice but to know a bit of that.
Listen, So tell whoever the audience. Yes, we do have. You know, it is not all medicine and nothing else. You know, it's a wholesome you know, life. But let's be quick to say we are a normal couple.
Right. The usual kind of couple that you'd get. It's probably much more beautiful because then they're in the same line of work. But again, here we are, and there's so much of you know, technology that is coming in. What would you say about this? Is it a blessing in the space of medicine? Perhaps you've seen it, Ro, when there was not much of technology, and this time around when there's a bit of it.
There's, in fact, Linda, one of the things that we brought back to Kenya in the medical space was technology. And why do I say that? We came, you know, armed with equipment, you know, that now we were able to work, you know, part-time when we were there, and we were able to purchase some equipment. So we were able to come with the first, you know, ultrasound of the heart, you know, black and white, you know, we call it two-dimensional echocardiogram, which was a game changer. You know, way back in 1986, you know, we were able to look at the heart, you can see it. Now it is, you know, a black and white would be, you know, would not be something, you know, to talk about. Now it has gone to color, Doppler, mini. So technology is great, and it really has enabled us in medicine, you know, to go way beyond, you know, what we ever learned in medical school and what we are able to do for the patient, you know, so that, for instance, when our son, you know, Anthony, you know, is in the cath lab, you know, because he's also a cardiologist. You know, he can do more than we could do, you know, because he has the advantage of, you know, having trained in the era of technology and also continue to learn, you know, to practice. You know, if the CEO, you know, Juliet, the issue of, you know, hospital information management system, you know, whether we are talking about, you know, IT, you know, everything is, they are all ahead of us. So in fact, we are lagging behind and having to learn. But great, but no doubt that whether you are looking at direct medical interventions, diagnosis as well as treatment, technology has really helped. This is the MRI now, you know, which we have at Karen Hospital, where you are able to look at the organs, you know, before, you know, you depended on a stethoscope, you know, and an X-ray. So technology is great, and I can only say even artificial intelligence is something that's going to be a game changer, you know, even in the medical world. And whoever does not believe in it, better believe in it. Whoever does, accept it and go ahead, you know, and learn it, you know, before they are overtaken by events.
Okay. Well, I am told there's a lot of feedback here, and you will agree with me that one of the biggest problems that the government is facing right now is just getting the old school medics to accept the coming in of technology and embracing the same in hospitals. We certainly hope that we get to spaces where this can be embraced. But even as we continue with this talk, the girl who dared to dream.
The girl who dared to dream is none other than Betty Gikonyo. I've penned my autobiography, The Girl Who Dared to Dream. The whole idea about writing this book way back, it's actually 10 years old now. It's not a new book. Is to inspire that girl or boy. It's really not a girl's book. Although it's because I was you know, I dared to dream when I was a young girl to be a doctor. That's why the name of the title. However, this book is really to inspire and, you know, and encourage that girl from the village, from any and who has a dream, whether it's the village, whether in the city, wherever they are, just to know that, as you were told by Lupita Nyong'o, all dreams are valid. So once you have a dream, pursue it with all that you have. Do not give up. Do not allow people, naysayers, you know, to discourage you. But remember, it's never going to be, you are going to dream all your life. You have to wake up and start working. And move. Number two, it is hard work. And it is not going to be easy. And to be able to achieve the very best, you know, to achieve a lot and to be the very best that you can be, it's continuous. It's never, you know, there's no day that you say it's day off. You know, not that you work 24 hours, 7 days a week, but it is something that, you know, pursues, you know, I would say more like chasing you, you know, and making you, you know, and confirming to you that you're on the right track. And the more people you can bring on board to believe in you, you know, and the more you vocalize it, you know, the better, because then you are held to accountability. So this book, I had a chance to have a, you know, to go on a book tour in Western Kenya. I went to about 10 schools in Western Kenya, you know, and I talked to both boys and girls schools. And one thing that they understood, that they loved, was the fact that they could identify with my background as a village girl. They could identify with my my problems even at Alliance Girls High School, where I could hardly understand what the English, those Irish and Scottish teachers were saying. It took me a year, to really get those accents. Once I got it, then I went sell, everything else. So they could identify with me losing my mother, at the age of, at tender age, of 13, and having, to, just to mourn and to ask God the questions that you ask, why me, why this, why, and how you finally overcome, getting to know that, as part of my story, I do have one of my 3 children who was born with a problem. I've put it here, and I've taken care of, of him. So we live a real life, the same life that other people live. And we are not safeguarded, from the rest of the. But the main thing is to remember that when all is said and done, this journey, it was already predestined how it was going to be.
Wow. And we can only talk much about the life of Daktari here. Perhaps you could grab a copy. And there's actually someone already who's asking, they've not sent their name, saying, how do we get a hold of the book? I'm sure you're going to tell us before we come to a close. Or
I can just tell you now.
Yes.
There is a Facebook page, same name, The Girl Who Dared to Dream. You just go in there. You'll find, instructions on how to get the book. And also have my own Facebook page, as Betty Kikonyo, and you can still, get it.
Oh, you tech savvy.
Yeah, I have had to learn how to.
There's no choice.
You have no choice.
You have to keep up.
You have to keep up with the Joneses, don't you? Yes.
I agree. So check her out, and as well, grab a copy. Some of these stories of inspiration are the ones that remind you that what you need not to sleep on the dream, but work and actualize and get to see it happen. Your brother is still there? That was a mentor?
Yes, unfortunately he went to be with the Lord.
Oh, Paul.
But I got the opportunity for him to take care, together with his late wife, for them to take care of me once I lost my mother. So I had that advantage of being brought up in a doctor's home.
Okay.
So it was, so when I was going through high school, I was no ordinary village girl anymore. At least I had, a home in Nairobi, and I thank God that God rest their soul, that they were there for me when I needed them.
Beautiful. I am struggling to get my messages, but I have seen one person saying, congratulations, Daktari, you have done wonders, and we continue to appreciate your contribution in the world of health in the country. And somebody else says, well, Daktari changed my life. Daktari saved me. These numerous beautiful stories that you have to get. Those are the SMS. The lines are open. We have about 5 minutes to close, so you can always drop your comments as we continue, because we're almost summing it up. And we're looking at Africa. And health is still a big problem. We're looking at funding of health in the country. It's still a conversation that is ongoing. What would be that one word, or perhaps that advice that you'd give to governments across in terms of making sure that they boost the health sector at the public level, as well as helping those ones that are in the private sector?
Linda, the one thing I would say is, I would like to, and I'm sure it has been said by others, without health, there's nothing people can do. So when people don't have good health, they cannot be productive. And if we are not productive, then we are not going to move forward. So what we need to put our, our funds, where it matters most, and not to disadvantage healthcare to the extent that the budget that is given, to the health sector is so meager as not to be able to take care of, get medicines into our dispensaries, into our hospitals, get, the medical requirement. Apart from medicines, we have laboratories that have to be manned, we have imaging x-rays. Then we also have, very importantly, the healthcare, the manpower for health. We must emphasize on training. Yes, we are training a lot of doctors, but we still, you know, even as we say we are training a lot of doctors, how many doctors do we have in Kenya?
Yeah.
We are not yet 20,000 for our population of 48 million. We have how many nurses? Probably less than 100,000, you know, for the population.
Yeah.
So training, you know, putting money into training, but quality training. And that's what we, you know, I keep on emphasizing even for the current hospital, you know, quality training, you know, quality treatment.
Yeah.
So for the government is put resources, you know, and that's funding, you know, into healthcare. Emphasize on training, and emphasize in ensuring that we do have equipment.
Yeah.
Because there is no way we are going to continue with a stethoscope, you know, and a syringe,
That's true.
you know, in the 21st century.
Well, with technology.
Yeah.
Hello, I wish to inquire from Dr. Betty when the teachers attending the workshop about heart to heart. I'm a teacher by profession from Migori County. We respond to that. Somebody else says, good evening, Linda. Say hi to Dr. Gikonyo. A very inspiring story there. I am a nutritionist by profession, asking if they take nutritionists. I have tarmac for the longest time. If they could consider me, of course, that is also one question. Another one, great inspiration story by Dr. Betty Gikonyo. She's a role model to many of us. I am proudly associated. Great show as well. Congratulations, the chairperson of Karen Hospital. A great inspiration story, Dr. Betty Gikonyo, you know, and this is kind regards, Julie Masinde, ICU team. Well, beautiful. Very many people are watching. You know, we are supposed to close this, but then again, time is flying out. Yes. But I'm also being told that we are getting a grace period for us to talk some more. But yes, you wanted to respond to them.
I think there was a question about the teachers' workshop.
Yes.
The teachers' workshop is in March, and it is on our, you know, I didn't say I'm also on LinkedIn. Yeah. So there are posters, you know, both in that LinkedIn as well as in the Current Hospital, you know, Facebook page, you know, because we ran the teachers workshop in March. I can't remember whether it's exactly, it's 5th or 15th, but it is in March, and we are already communicating with the teachers on the teachers' WhatsApp groups that we have over 200 schools that actually we are partnering with in this. But if there's a new school that wants to come on board, please just post something on our Facebook page, you know, the Current Hospital, and we'll respond to it. Beautiful.
There you go. Somebody else says, hey, Daktari, they are serving Valentine vibes. What is the plan for Valentine's now that you say that you're a lover of music, dreams, and all that? You must come from that generation that valued Valentine so much. So.
Oh, yes, we did.
So what is the plan this time around? I'm sure that has not changed.
Well, I think of course, you people have taken it to another level. You know, no, definitely ours was.
You're exaggerating.
Ours is very simple. Yeah. It was you dress up in red, you know, and you go for dinner, you know, and you go home. But you people now, you know, with all the fancy, you know, there's much more, and it's good. All that we are saying is the world is moving. We can't stay static. We can't be static.
All right.
So that's in order.
And sometimes your plans are your plans. You don't have to go out there shouting about your plans. So let us not push Daktari to tell us what her plans are.
Please don't. Yeah.
Otherwise, Daktari, you know, I'd go on and on and on.
Yes.
And I appreciate you coming this evening. What would be your parting shots to the people who are watching you, to those ones that would want to get this message of inspiration, but above everything, anything about health and life?
As I conclude, what I would say is, one is I'm grateful to God, you know, for just the gift, you know, that He has, you know, accorded me, you know, to see, or not just all these years, because I wasn't born yesterday, you know, but I've seen a lot, you know, in both in the academic, you know, in the school system, you know, through the, you know, the practice of medicine. But very, very importantly is that each one of us has a gift, and each one of us needs to maximize and ensure that that gift that God has given us, that we bring it to the benefit of other people. Yes, there is us, but you can only consume this much as an individual. What matters most at the end of the day is, when all is said and done, what will you leave behind that will make people remember that you passed through this journey, that you are on this path? And it is very, very important that we ask these questions very early on. We teach our children, and I think that's very important, because whatever we have is what was inculcated in us by our parents. You know, the need for, in that time, was education. But they also, without, you know, explicitly saying so, it's like you need to be somebody. You know, not that there's anybody who is not somebody, but you know what I mean. So at the end of the day, you know, what is it that you'll be remembered for? What is it that you bequeath the other generations? I would hope that when all is said and done, I'll be remembered as that village girl, you know, who made a difference, you know, to the lives of very many, both in the medical world and also outside medicine, when I served even at the University Council, when I served at the Nairobi Health Management Board, you know, when I have served in the village committee or in a village school, I would like to be remembered as that village girl, you know, who rose beyond and achieved much more than, you know, than would have been thought possible, you know, under normal circumstances. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Did you ever imagine you will get to these heights, even as you were planning life?
Life it's like a journey without knowing the destination, but you keep on walking. But don't look behind and don't see who is not coming with you. Just keep on going.
Focus. Dr. Betty Muthoni Gikonyo, pediatric cardiologist, as well as the co-founder of the Karen Hospital, a woman who wears very many hats, a woman who is indeed, you know, changed the lives of many and continues to do so. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
And we're looking forward to have more and more of these conversations.
Yes.
We still have promised our viewer that there's going to be a dance, so please be looking forward to that incredible dance. We have to close at this very point. Asante sana as well for the numerous feedback that we have gotten. My name is Linda Alela. That's all we had on Hase. We're looking forward to the next episode sometime next Sunday. Remember, you need to be that girl who dares to dream. You need to be that boy who dares to dream. There's so much to learn.